So let us please stand up first and then give a good morning to your registrar sir and HOD sir. Good morning, sir. The backbenchers, still I cannot hear you all. Good morning, sir. Girls are fine, what about boys? Not from the first, the back. Anyway, so once again, good morning. Good morning, sir. Perfect, that's great. So that gives us a great beginning for us. So before I move on to the session, I would like to thank Mallareddy University. At the same time, special thanks to Anjaneyal Garu, and once more special thanks to HOD Vidyasagar Garu, and special thanks to coordination with Swati ma'am also. So let us give a big round of applause for them. I think it can be a bit louder. So it is great to see that all these students are getting an update on the knowledge or regarding the current financial affairs which are happening at the same time. So as a part of that, the recent one which we can, a major event is one of the largest democracies union budget. So which has happened almost like 10 days back. So let us try to discuss on that. So instead of going into the nitty-gritties, as you all are students, and at the same time I can see some bright and future entrepreneurs. So let us try to discuss what is in it for you from the budget perspective rather than discussing about the numbers. So what are the revenue incomes, or what are the deficits which are there. So let us not go into that sort of part. So let us try to discuss what is there for students, what is there for the common man, what is there for the future employers, what is there for the future employees. So next slide. So special thanks to, once again, special thanks to Mallareddy University, School of Management and Commerce, especially to the Department of BBA, and at the same time MLA Mallareddy Garu, at the same time VSK Reddy Garu, Anjaneyal Garu and Vidyasagar Garu, and at the same time last but not least Shivaprasad Garu, CDSL Regional Manager. So let us give him a big round of applause for making this event happen. So budget 2024, what's in it for me? So we'll discuss, these are the 5 major points. So one from the student perspective, second from the women perspective, third from the business perspective, fourth one from the investment perspective, and last but not least, the personal finance point of view. Next slide. So the major focus areas for the budget 2024 is farmers, women, youth and underprivileged. So the first one and the last one we are not touching. In today's session we will touch about the women and the youth. Next slide. So the initial views are, so most people think, or most people till date they say that okay, we are still a developing economy and there is a lot more road ahead for us to become a developed economy kind of thing. So under that sort of scenario, so welcome to the Bharatization or westernization of Bharat. So that is what we can try to talk about and discuss about. So that the first major point which we can try to assess is, this is a roadmap till 2047, which is almost like a 20 years roadmap from here on. So that is what the government has tried to understand, and they have kept with the policy continuation. So that is one of the major points which you can try to assess from today, the recent budget. And at the same time, we as in India, so we would like to become a developed economy rather than being a developing economy. And at the same time, the second largest economy, most people definitely know that. So we need to compete with China and we need to stand along with USA. So that is the major target. Already we are in the top 5 economies, and at the same time we are in the top 5 market cap based economies also, not only just as per the GDP wise, but as per the stock market capitalization wise also, we are in the top 5. And at the same time, definitely we can assure, or you are in the golden sweet spot for the next 2 decades, because you will be the wealth creators rather than the wealth generators, or probably your fathers and forefathers have already created a backup for you, and at the same time you will be in a position to accelerate the wealth creation for the society as well as for your family members, and as well as for the next generation youth which are going to participate in that. And at the same time, one major decision which has been taken by the government is assets capital gains rate has been rationalized. So earlier, real estate or gold or the physical assets used to be taxed at a different level, but right now all are brought under the same level, and probably in the near future, probably in the next decade, every asset class will be under the same taxation regime. So probably that we can try to put on. Let us try to discuss in a detailed way. So first we will try to discuss from the business point of view. So most businesses, when we talk about, as I was discussing with Anjanel Garu, he was telling that some of the students are already running their own kind of businesses. But when we talk about from the dynamics of the businesses, so managing your cash flows is very much important. Like managing your revenues are important, managing your expenses are very much important, and at the same time sticking on to the commitments which need to be paid to your creditors or debtors, at the same time to your team or staff. That is also very much important. The one of the major regulation which the drastic change which we can talk about is the cash flows or the NPS which we talk about, or the sick units or the sick businesses which don't have enough cash flows. So some relief has been given by the government to these small businesses in terms of increasing the period of declaring them as an NPA or an SMA account. And at the same time, government will support those sort of stressed businesses, whether it is a small business or a micro business or even a medium-sized business. Don't assume when I talk about a business, it is not a corporate only. Even from a small, micro, medium enterprises also are categorized as your businesses. Even if you are running with a 20 people team with an annual turnover of around 1 CR, so probably you are also called as an MSME kind of category. So even for those businesses also, if you are in a stress phase, if you don't have enough cash flows to meet your liabilities, so probably government is there to support you, and you need to follow the framework which is being laid down by the regulators and the process and protocols. If you are there, then probably governments are always there to support you, and at the same time the angel tax is being removed. So nowadays we talk about the startups. So many people think about the startup means it has to be a unicorn or $1 billion startup kind of thing. Even with a person who is having a 5 CR or a 10 CR kind of a initial investment, so we can call them as a startup, and you need to get registered with DPIIT or startupindia.com. So first you can try to look out for these sort of websites which are called as a startupindia.com or a DPIIT or Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. So all these will give you an edge over the other students or edge over other entrepreneurs, and it will give you a competitive edge for you also. So as a student, rather than just sticking on to your theory or rather than just sticking on to your books or to your exams, so start browsing on the different ministries, what are the schemes which are there giving, what are the different types of incentive programs these governments are giving. Try to prepare a report on your own, submit it to your HOD sir or a faculty member, so that they will be able to understand what sort of business report you are preparing and what sort of business models you are going to develop, and at the same time you are benefiting from the government also. So that can be your first point of contact or first agenda where you need to prepare your own business report so that you become an entrepreneur and at the same time you grow your own business. And the next one is unlisted shares tax rate has been reduced. So one, the angel tax is removed. Earlier, even if a funding used to be, even if a startup gets a funding, so there used to be a huge taxation part, and now the taxation is removed, which means you will be able to get funding from the venture capitalists or even from the angel investors at a better terms and conditions. But probably you need to be in a higher way or a better way to convince your product and business model. How many of them watched Shark Tank? Only few. So you can get a lot more ideas on that. So there are other versions which are not only in India, from the other countries also. You can try to check their own business models, try to implement or try to bring those business models into India, and then you can grow your own business. Next one is the corporate tax is already lower than the highest individual's bracket. Say for example, from the taxation perspective, so 30% slab is the one, but whereas when you talk about the corporate taxation, it is like if you opt for a section 115 BAA, then probably your tax rate is approximately 25%. So by running the business, your tax liability is less when compared with an individual who is earning a 20 lakh income or a 15 lakh income, who is into the 30% tax bracket. But if you are running a business, probably your tax liability or the tax rate is already reduced by running a corporate or a startup kind of thing. And corporatization of individual businesses. So nowadays you can see many businesses are run by like a sole proprietor or a kind of partnership firms. But if you try to corporatize that, or probably you can move towards an LLP or a kind of private limited, probably your tax liability is also reduced there. So individuals earning 30% income or a 25% kind of income, so there is an advantage or a tax advantage by moving towards the corporatization. So that is one of the business models where many businesses surrounding you or around you are run by a sole proprietor. So you can try to assess them whether their business models are above 50 lakh revenue or a 1 CR kind of revenue. Then you can give a suggestion to those businesses that you are in a highest tax bracket by running your own kind of sole proprietor business, but probably you can try to corporatize that and then you can reduce your tax liability. And at the same time, when we talk about the students, so what's in it for the students? One thing, 1.48 lakh crores has been allocated for the education, skills and employment. So there is a clear gap of employability skills. So all the corporates or all the companies which are looking at are not, the students are not able to cope up with the latest technological updates in the business environment. Probably the educational institutions, one of the things which we can try to talk about is this industry oriented kind of workshops, industry oriented kind of integrations, or industry oriented kind of MOUs has to be there, so that at the same time internship, on ground or on field work will be there for the students, so that they can try to grasp the business environment, and at the same time they will be able to understand the real time business operations at a nitty-gritty level. So that is what the students require. At a later date, even if you start your own business or if you want to work for a company, probably you need to have the highest employability skills. So the first and foremost thing which a student need to understand is getting the knowledge regarding the industry, what are the regulations and the latest developments which are happening in the industry. So you need to identify it from the latest trends and technological updates. So probably your books are outdated, though the curriculum may be designed 5 years ago or 10 years ago, but still as per the latest industry requirements, because we are living in a world of chat GPT or artificial intelligence. The world is changing on a daily basis, not on a decadal basis. So when we are changing on a daily basis, probably you need to be in a faster way to upgrade your own skills. You might say, sir, I have a BBA, I have an MBA, but that is of no use. What industry is looking is, what are the technical skills which are there for you, and what is that which you can bring onto the board. So these two are very, very much important. So if you are able to sit for interview, so that is your first victory, and cracking the interview is the second point of victory. So in order to bridge that gap, the government has allocated approximately 1.4 lakh crore in order to make sure that the students' skill sets are getting updated and at the same time they are getting employable. So these are the major points which you need to understand. And at the same time, we are living in the middle class families. So most of the families which we are here are, it's almost like 40 crore to 50 crore families are in the what you call the middle class level, or the upper middle class to the lower middle class families, which we can talk about. So these middle class families need to be much employable so that they can try to get a better employability and a better career opportunities. So for that, when we want to move from a developing economy to a developed economy, our per capita income has to increase. When we are talking about per capita income, the each and every family earning should move strictly towards the 6 lakh or beyond 10 lakh kind of thing. Right now it is approximately 1.8 lakh to 2 lakhs. So the average family income right now is approximately 1.8 lakh to 2 lakh per annum, and that number should increase towards 6 lakhs to 10 lakhs. So then only we can call ourselves as a developed economy. So under that sort of scenario, probably the employability and at the same time the employer skills. Running business is not an easy task. Even if you are an employer, you should be having a different set of skill sets. When you are an employee, you should have a different set of skill sets. So you need to be in a position to either bridge these two. Then only you will have a lot more value addition in the society. And the next one point is the student loans. in most of the brain drain is happening right now. So you can see that most of the students are migrating to US, Canada, Australia, UK, and each of the student have an they want to do their PG in their in those countries. So you can see the burden of the education cost. It is like 70 lakh, 1 CR, 1.5 CR. So in order to reduce that burden and make sure that brain drain is not happening to other countries, the government has started to give educational loans to the students and to the tune of 10 lakhs. So we'll try to discuss in the next slide. So probably if you want to do your higher education or probably you want to upgrade your skill set, so government is giving this sort of student loans. So you can try to grab that opportunity and make sure that your skill sets are up to date. And at the same time, internship opportunities. When you talk about the internship opportunities, the skill gap which is there, the educational institutions which are throwing out the students are not having the enough employability skills, and make sure that the companies want what sort of skill sets so they require. So the companies are forced to give these sort of internship opportunities, so that even the companies are also incentivized, and at the same time the skill gap is reduced. And at the same time, online financial literacy. So most of the times what we talk about is the lack of financial education or the lack of the technical education is what we try to talk about, or the digital literacy and the financial literacy. As per the National Education Policy 2020, so there is a stress which is being given onto the digital literacy as well as to the financial literacy. So most of the students don't know what insurance is or how much insurance coverage they require, what sort of investments which are available in India, what are the tax advantages which each and every asset class has, or how much you need to invest, where to invest, so that you get a tax deductions and exemptions. So this sort of personal finance literacy is not there in India, and I am sorry to say that it is less than 4% in India. So though we are having a 70% literacy rate or 80% literacy rate, but the financial literacy is still less than 4%. So the government is trying to improve that financial literacy so that everyone is well financially equipped towards the developed economy, so that they can grow their income. At the same time, they pay less taxes. In fact, government is here to make sure that you pay less taxes by using the provisions, by using the incentives, by using the subsidies which are given. Because government want development, they don't want just taxes, they want the development to happen. And I'm sure all the students who are here, you can definitely, probably in the next 5 years or 10 years, you can do that. Next slide. The initiative one which we can try to talk about from the student perspective is from the informal sector to the formal sector. Most of the businesses which are there right now are like individual based businesses, like your sole proprietors or partnership limited, and the government wants to move those sort of businesses towards the corporatized one. And the workers who are working in those sort of businesses, the government wants to move from the informal sector to the formal sector. So as a part of that, government has given us taken a great initiative of reimbursing 1 month wage for those informal to formal kind of employees who are moving from that path. So from that, the employer is getting benefited, and at the same time, if an employee is moving from an informal sector to the formal sector, he is also getting a better pay and a better lifestyle also. And at the same time, the EPFO or the Employee Provident Fund, so that is called as the first one, where you can try to think about where when a new employee is onboarded, so he'll be getting onboarded under the EPFO or the Employee Provident Fund also. So that will be the first trigger to make sure that a new joinee is coming into the system, or a new employee is being onboarded from an informal economy to a formal economy. And the next initiative which we talk about is the manufacturing sector, because India, if it has to be a developed economy, probably we are the tech giants. So there is no doubt in that. So from a technological point, we need to be a manufacturing hub. So most of the students might have heard the term called China plus one. So when we talk about China plus one, probably we need to be the manufacturing hub also. When we need to be a manufacturing hub, the proper skill sets also have to be there. And as a part of that, government has proposed a new initiative called the companies which create a new jobs are being incentivized. So as an employer, if you want to start your own manufacturing unit, what can be the business? Anything, any business where you are where you are producing your own goods. So even if you are joining an organization and making sure that your career is built up there, employers are getting rewarded and as well as the employee is also getting rewarded. So there is a double benefit for both. So that scheme is there. It's a approach. So that is going to benefit approximately 50 lakh youth. So we are talking from your employee point of view and employer point of view, from a business point of view and from your career point of view. So you can try to choose which way you want. So as a student, either you will be an employer or an employee. And there are some people who don't want to do anything. So let us leave that category aside. But when we are talking about a serious category, either you will become an employer or an employee. So these are the three major initiatives which are already there. So skilling collaboration with industry and state governments. So most people are like their polytechnic or ITIs which are there. So they are outdated kind of skill sets. So when we talk about the latest technological developments in the manufacturing or in the food processing units or any other kind of industry, the latest skill sets need to be updated. So for that, the industry plus government are trying to give the latest kind of skill sets, and for that 1000 ITIs are going to be set up, and the courses also will be in collaboration with the industry. It is not that some bookish knowledge will be given and at the same time, along with your bookish knowledge, some practical knowledge or the industry experience or industry orientation will be given. So that is one of the fourth initiative which is there, and that is approximately 20 lakh youth. And next incentive is model skill loan. Say for example, there are outdated students and they want to upgrade their own skill sets so that they become employable. So the government is giving a loan also. So probably you can try to discuss that with your faculty members or with the industry oriented people, or in fact you can try to put on some business consultants along with you so that you can try to identify where these sort of opportunities are there, what sort of documentation is required for you, so that you can try to upgrade your skill sets and as well as avail the benefit of those loans. And non-government student loans are also given. So again, that is up to the 10 lakhs worth of education loan in terms of CBDC, central bank digital currency is what we call it as. In India we call it as e-rupee. So like your Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana, so there is an digital currency which is being launched by RBI. We call that as e-rupee. So those sort of vouchers are being given where you can try to, the 10 lakh worth of loan which is given to you, you can try to redeem it for the courses, or you can try to buy some online courses as well as some books or the technical equipment which are there. So the government is going to give you, if you are probably eligible for that, you can avail that sort of 10 lakh loan, and that too, interest is also very less. So when you compare it with your educational loan which is like 9% or a 10%, there is an interest subvention which is being given by the government of India so that the youth are skilled and upgraded on them. And the last opportunity or the last initiative which you can try to talk about is top 500 companies internship opportunities are there. So as a part of the CSR activity, which companies generally try to do that, so they can try to have some interns on board, give them a full-time training onto those students, and as well as so that once they get trained and they are absorbed as a full-time employees into those organizations, and that opportunity is given to the top 500 companies. So that gives a real-time effect, a real-time business learnings, or a real-time individual department-wise skill sets. So probably you can try to interact with some of your super seniors or alumni who are working in those top 500 companies and try to apply for internship in those companies. So that is one of the major opportunity which you can try to put on. How many of them are having a LinkedIn account? I can see only few. So probably you can try to build your professional image or a professional branding using that. And nowadays, in fact, the employers are looking at your social media platforms, not just only LinkedIn. Probably your Instagram, they are also trying to look. If you have any YouTube channel, they are also looking there. You can try to build your own professional image there. Once you build a professional image and at the same time you can avail this internship opportunity, nobody can stop you as per the employment wise. So now let us try to talk about what's in it for the women, because as I can see, the my left hand side is almost like completely filled with women. So one major initiative which is women and girl child focused. So Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao and women policy. So approximately 3 lakh crore is being allocated for that. especially for the women skill set development and as well as the protection for women. So approximately 3 lakh crore is being allocated for that. And the second initiative, which is a major thing, is working women's hostels are being built up in collaboration with the industry. So the one of the major problem with for women is they need to migrate to other cities. They will not be able to find proper accommodation, find proper food facilities, or find proper transportation facilities. So that is one of the major reason why parents hesitate to send their children to other cities. So in order to reduce that sort of thing, so the government is encouraging to build up working women hostels, and at the same time creche are also being set up so that to make sure that the kids who are there of those working women are being taken care by these women. So these sort of special incentive programs are being launched, and probably who are those who want to become a women entrepreneur or womanpreneur, which we call it about, they can try to utilize that sort of opportunity to build up your own kind of chain of hospitality or a chain of what do you call play schools kind of thing, and you can try to collaborate with industry and you can try to benefit from that sort of opportunity. And it is not only that, there are many self-help groups like what we call it as a Dwakra groups. So their skill sets also want to be upgraded, and at the same time the government is trying to think on how to make sure that industry is getting collaborated with self-help groups. Probably the women who are already in these self-help groups can try to integrate with their own business models with this industry and make sure that they are also getting benefited. And one of the major initiative which is not there in the Telugu states, there is a special stamp duty which is being given for the women real estate buyers. Say for example, in AP and Telangana, obviously the stamp duty is same for whether it is a woman buyer or a men buyer, but probably in other states there is a differential rate. In order to encourage that, so probably the government of India is in discussion with most of the state governments to make sure that the stamp duty is at a variable level, so that even the women empowerment happens, or the financial empowerment for women also happens at the same time. When we talk about the real estate, one of the first major benefit which we can try to look out is they have reduced the tax of the LTCG, or the long-term capital gain which we talk about has been reduced from 20% to just 12.5%. However, the indexation benefit is being removed. So that will give us a booster shot for our capital market experts, because the money will start moving from the real estate towards the capital markets in the long run. Because when we want to move from a developing economy to a developed economy, the money should move into a productive assets. I'm not saying that real estate is an unproductive asset, but when you look at the